Oh, there we are. Welcome back to Resistance Chicks, bright and shiny. I had set the lighting for the other, there we go, other screen. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 31st of July. Tomorrow is going to be August 1st, brand new month, starting fresh. Now, here's the deal. While we're waiting for everybody to get here, I want to tell you a story about last night. We have dogs staying with us, new dogs. And every time, for those of you that do not know, maybe you're brand new to Resistance Chicks, Leah and I own and operate a pet sitting business full time. Most of the time we go into people's homes. Occasionally they stay here at our house. But we are around dogs and cats all day and night. All of the time. We don't even have our own dogs. We've got dogs. Now, we've got two Westies here. Adorable little creatures. So fun. Very sweet. Barky. Little Barky. Barky at a pin drop Barky. So we didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Now, so at the crack of dawn this morning while I wasn't sleeping, I sat there and decided that I would contemplate a new career move. I'm actually really excited about this, and I kind of wonder if it's possible to do this. Okay? I don't know where you will fit in on this. But do you remember a show in the 90s called The Pretender? Where he could literally just become anything he wanted because, what was his name? Jared? Jared could become anything he wanted because he was like super smart. Well, I'm not that level smart, but have you ever contemplated like, I could probably fake that? Like, I could do that job, okay, and make it like, what's one that you can think of that you've thought to yourself, like, I could probably, like, if I just jumped in, fake that, like a softball coach or something, like
history
a
professor.
Exactly, like jump in, boom, like I could do. So here's and this will be a lateral career move for me. Okay, we talked about that. Literally, it's not much of a change, and I'll tell you why. This is what I want to do. I want to make a switch from pet sitter, lateral move, to stand-up comedian. I think I can do it. Now, why is it a lateral move?
Because stand-up comedians don't make any money.
Well, that was one of my thoughts, yes. But actually, the other one was because the pets already laugh at me all the time. I'm convinced that they're laughing at me. When they are barking at night, all that barking is just, you can't sleep and I love it. Or when they're peeing across the carpet, they're literally laughing at me. So, lateral move, I'm getting laughs from the pets. I would be getting laughs from people, okay? That's number one, right? Now, but if I didn't, so it was kind of reminds me of like, there are so many things out there that I feel like I could fake. I could be a plumber. I could go into somebody's house, fake being a plumber, charge $50 an hour, okay?
More than that, yeah.
Electrician, drywaller, therapist. This one I got down, okay? All you have to do is wear glasses and have like a little pen. And how does that make you feel? I think this is a case of childhood trauma, okay? Say five Hail Marys and call me next week, $200 an hour, okay?
I don't think they bring in religion, but yeah.
Definitely think I could be a therapist, but I want to do stand-up comedy. But then this led me to another thought that I had. My level of Jaredness, of becoming whatever I think that I could do and get by with, right, and make more money than what I'm making right now, is not the same as like Jared. Like Jared could be a surgeon. Astrophysicist. So I'm comparing my becoming a comedian to Jared becoming a surgeon or something like that. And then I got to thinking, what if a surgeon wanted to
burglar
all of a sudden make that move to become a comedian? What if they're tired of cutting people open? Okay, right? But the language there is a little bit iffy, right? Because a stand-up comedian, our American language is so strange. And not just the language, but like our isms, the phrases that we use that don't make any sense. Like the stand-up comedian is following another guy. The guy comes out and he's like, oh my gosh, the crowd's totally alive out there, right? You're going to kill it. The surgeon that wants to make the transfer then doesn't quit his day job but goes back and he's sitting down with the people in the, they meet with you before they're going to operate on your family member, and they're like, they're totally alive in there, but don't worry, I'm going to kill it. Ching! So there is my stand-up comedian act. And I'm going to make this move. Yes, I'm lateral move. Totally.
We're not quitting any day job.
No. Because that's my passion, right? Our life gives us like 10 years worth of material for stand-up comedy. I know this because I go to tell stories to my friends, and then the stories end up in peals of laughter, not because of my great storytelling, but just because our life has good material to start with, right? What I think I'm trying to do is mentally, in my slap happiness of not getting any sleep, okay?
You don't
make the lemonade.
It's not working, though. The lemonade just is a little bit
Take the lemons and make lemonade and just make the switch. Pet sitter, where they are laughing at me, lateral move to standing on stage, stand-up comedy.
Okay.
What's going on?
I'm making sure that nobody's killing themselves.
Exactly.
Speaking of stand-up comedy, I don't know how that segues into our first story, but Jim Jordan was interviewing Dr. Fauci today.
Alan tells me not to quit my day job.
Yeah,
I would need to moonlight a little bit as the comedian first and start raking in the massive amounts of dough.
Yeah.
Before, but I don't know about stand-up comedy in COVID times because you can't judge the crowd.
You have to do it online. You have to do it online.
No, but I would need to feed off of the crowd.
Well, forget it during coronavirus. This is not going to happen. I don't mean to poo-poo your ideas. I think you can be anything you want to be.
I really want to do it. Like, I had dreams.
Yeah, you have dreams. That's great. We all have dreams.
That's a toy. They're allowed to
That's
play
fantastic.
with
Playing with a toy. Love it. All right, Dr. Fauci was being interviewed today. Was interviewed today.
While he was being
interviewed. There you go.
Let's now switch to an English professor.
Where'd he
won't
going?
be doing any of that.
He's just going.
He's fine.
All right. They're all going. We probably should have shut the door. Jim Jordan had some really interesting line of questioning for Dr. Fauci. And you'll notice that pretty much coronavirus and the shutdowns and everything are all political. They make...
increase the spread of the virus.
Oh, wait.
So he did better with
protest increase the spread
with Fauci than he did with the big tech?
Yeah, so we've had some hearings this week. We have
Bill Barr,
Big Tech, and Fauci. So we're gonna cover Barr. Big Tech was a bust. Like nothing happened.
No, like I said to Maia and Eric and Terry, I sent them a message and I said it was, and their mom Kathy and Uriah, got a whole group text there. I said they didn't just drop the ball; it was a touchback. They scored for the other team. The Republicans did on that.
It was embarrassing.
That's all you need to know about that. It was bad.
It was really embarrassing. Yeah, they were like the YouTubers on the other side were playing clips from the committee meeting.
Of course they were. And
look at his stupid questioning lines. Okay, so.
Do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Do protests increase the spread of the virus?
I know we're never going to get to this story, but it is really funny. See, once again, I got all kinds of material. I could deliver this if I had some time to work on it, but the punchline is we're upstairs in the kitchen, and Patriot Gallery likes to eat her dinner while we do our show. So she's putting her dinner in the oven, leftovers from last night. I made the best meatloaf and mashed potatoes, knock your socks off. But I made a white gravy, and normally I make a brown gravy. So I made a white gravy, and when I was putting everything away, I put the mashed potatoes in a big container, and along with the meatloaf on the side of it, and then just pour the gravy right on top. Just take your chunk the next day. You're going to reheat it, whatever. So I'm talking to Mom in the kitchen, and she's dishing out her thing, and I'm putting things that she had gotten out of the fridge to get the thing out, and I'm putting it back. I said, don't touch my vanilla pudding. Leah made vanilla pudding from scratch, which is also out of the world. A little bit of chocolate chips, rainbow sprinkles. Oh my gosh. So I'm talking to her, and she gets out she gets out the pudding. I'm thinking, oh, Mom wants to have a little bit of dessert with her dinner when it's done. So I'm thinking, and I'm watching her scoop this, and I was like, whoa, stop that. I said, no. And she's like, what? And then she's like, this is vanilla pudding, isn't it? I said, I just said don't touch the pudding.
It has the same
So I said, Mom, scoop it off. And she's like, no, I'm just going to put it in the oven. It'll be caramelized on top of my mashed potatoes.
Increase the spread of the virus.
Do protests increase the spread of the virus? I think I can make a general statement.
Well, 500,000 protesters on June 6th alone. Yeah. I'm just asking that number of people. Does it increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
Should we limit the protesting?
Antifa.
I'm not sure what you mean. How do we say limit the protesting?
Should government limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to...
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus, I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You make comments on dating, on baseball, and everything you can imagine. I'm just asking you, just said that protests increase the spread. I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you...
Government stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
Last week in the Calvary Chapel case, 5 liberals on the Supreme Court said it was okay for Nevada to limit church services. Justice Gorsuch said it best. He said, there's no world in which the Constitution permits Nevada to favor Caesar's Palace over Calvary Chapel. I'm just asking, is there a world where the Constitution says you can favor one First Amendment liberty, protesting, over another, practicing your faith?
I'm not favoring anybody over anybody. I'm just making a statement that's a broad statement that avoid crowds of any type, no matter where you are, because that leads to the acquisition and transmission. And I don't judge one crowd versus another crowd. When you're in a crowd, particularly if you're not wearing a mask, that induces the spread.
It's a simple question, doctor. Should we limit the protests? Government is obviously limiting people going to church. And look, there's been no violence that I can see at church. I haven't seen people during a church service go out and harm police officers or burn buildings. But we know that, for 63 days, 9 weeks, it's been happening in Portland.
Right. Yeah.
Well, one night in Chicago, 49 officers were injured, but no limit to protests. But boy, you can't go to church on Sunday. What was good?
I don't know how many times I can answer that. I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm just going to tell you.
You've opined on a lot of things, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, but I've never.
This is something that directly impacts the spread of the virus, and I'm asking your position on the protest.
Yeah, I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm telling you what it is, the danger. And you can make your own conclusion about that.
I have my own
You should
conclusion.
stay away from crowds, no matter where the crowds are.
Government has stopped people from going to work. In fact, just in New Jersey 4 days ago, Ian Smith, Frank Trombetta were arrested for trying to operate their business, their gym. They were arrested. But my bet is, if these two individuals own this gym were outside just in front of their gym, and all the people who were working out in their gym were outside protesting, they'd been just fine. But because they were in the gym working out, actually running their business, they got arrested. Do you think that's okay?
I'm not going to opine on who gets arrested and who does not. You get where I'm going. I'm telling you, as a public health official, I say crowds.
Do you see the inconsistency, though, Dr. Fauci?
There's no inconsistency, Congressman.
So you're allowed to protest, millions of people on one day in crowds yelling, screaming, but you try to run your business, you get arrested? And if you stood right outside of that same business and protested, you wouldn't get arrested? You don't see an inconsistency there?
I don't understand what you're asking me as a public health official to opine on who should get arrested or not. That's not my position. You can ask me as much as you want,
advocated for certain businesses. You've advocated for certain businesses to be shut down. I'm just asking you on your position on the protest. I haven't seen one. We've heard a lot about hair salons. I haven't seen one hairstylist who, between haircuts, goes out and attacks police or sets something on fire. But we've seen all kinds of that stuff during protests, and we know the protests actually increase the spread of the virus. You've said that.
I said crowds. I didn't say specifically. I didn't say protest do anything.
So the protests don't increase the spread of the virus?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, I just want an answer to the question. Do the protests increase the spread of the virus?
I don't have any scientific evidence that anything. I can tell you that crowds are known, particularly when you don't have a mask, to increase the acquisition.
You don't have any scientific proof on the masks. masks either. But you are opining on those, telling everybody to wear those.
And transmission. No matter
So
what
you don't have a
crowd-
position on whether the protests increase the spread of the virus or don't increase the spread of the virus.
I'm saying that crowds, wherever the crowds are, can give you an increased probability that there's going to be acquisition and transmission.
But do you understand Americans' concern? Protesting, particularly according to the Democrats, is just fine, but you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't go to church. There's limits placed on all three of those fundamental activities, First Amendment activities, but protesting is just fine.
You know,
Look at him. Dr. Fauci is acting like these are incredulous questions. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and what Dr. Fauci is failing to do. Now, what I would have asked him is, did you give any input into closing down businesses? We know that you did.
Yeah.
We know that you did. Did you or did you not sit down with Donald Trump and say we should close businesses?
Right. And then he sits there like a little weasel and tries to say, well, I don't know. I'm not in on the telling the government what they should and shouldn't do, but that's your job. Your job is to give the government recommendations based on being a health official. That's your job. That's why you're hired. Okay? To give recommendations based on the science, quote unquote, that you have.
So the shutdowns we now know are diabolical and satanic and have nothing to do with the coronavirus. Otherwise, Dr. Fauci would say, point blank, yes, protests. And here's the thing. He is a Democrat. He has given money to Hillary Clinton. He thinks he is being used as a mole within the Trump administration. And Steve Scalise had a 2-minute line of questioning with Dr. Fauci saying, were you in the middle of the discussions on banning travel to China? Yes, I was involved with those. What about banning travel to the UK? Yes, I was involved with those. What about banning travel to all of Europe? Yes, I was involved with those. Did you think that Donald Trump made the right decision? Yes, I was intimately involved with all of those decisions. And yet, we have hundreds of thousands of people outside, toe-to-toe, spitting on each other, beating police, and Dr. Fauci, as the Institute of National Institute of Health, says, whatever.
It's like this. As a public health official, again, sticking with the theme of Michelle could do a lot of jobs out there and fake it. If I am Fauci, all right, here's the deal. Let's just say I'm a public health official on a lower scale. I haven't been in Washington for 40 years advising presidents, okay? But let's say I'm advising people on health, and I see a big old, cake sitting there, and somebody comes to me and they say, Michelle, is that cake gonna make me fat if I eat the whole thing? And I go, well, I can tell you that cake that is like that. No, it's even better than this. I can tell you that my research from just eating delectable baked goods slathered in icing and lots of sugar, if you eat 20 portions of that, it'll make you fat. But I can't comment on that cake because there's no science, there's no research that was done on that specific cake. So I'm just saying I'm not going to commit to the fact that cake is going to make you fat if you eat the whole thing. I'm just saying that delectable
Dr.
baked
Fauci
treats
has become an SJW warrior. He goes out there. He loves being on Good Morning America. He talks about dating. He talks about, I want you to wear goggles. All right, Yale epidemiologist. Dr. Fauci is running a misinformation campaign against HQ.
We're going to try not to say the word. Mom likes to call it Roxy, but I'm going to call it Droxy.
Okay. So Dr. Harvey Risch, a Yale epidemiologist, has accused Dr. Fauci of waging a misinformation against HQC or HCQ, claiming the medication has shown consistently encouraging results in the treatment of COVID-19 when used properly. It has been at the center of a protracted political debate since March when, Donald Trump cited the drug as promising. Since Trump's speculative endorsement of the drug, media outlets and medical officials have for several months aggressively promoted various medical trials that have determined the drug has no effectiveness in fighting COVID-19. While you're sitting there...
That's the same metaphor as the cake, though, by the way. Okay? We know that it is effective in fighting SARS and Roxy-type viruses. We know that it is effective. I'm trying to avoid saying it. It's very difficult. Okay? We know that it's effective there, right?
On my Facebook, either mine or Resistance Chicks, is a video with Bill Gates, if you can find it.
Bill Gates.
Many commenters have also insisted, in spite of the drug's decades-long safe track record, that it's too dangerous. Too dangerous, that you're saying. On Tuesday, during an interview with Good Morning America, Fauci further downplayed the drug's benefit, claiming the overwhelming prevailing clinical trials have looked at the efficacy and indicated that it is not effective. Risch, however, is sharply criticizing Fauci's approach to evaluating the drug's effectiveness, arguing that repeated trials and tests, have shown that it is markedly effective. Risch, a professor of ophthalmology, and the director of Yale's Molecular Cancer Laboratory, has been pushing for the drug's use in the fight against coronavirus. Last week, in a Newsweek op-ed, he called HCQ the key to defeating COVID-19, claiming its use, particularly when administered with the antibiotics and zinc, show highly effective treatment. On Tuesday, Risch went further, charging in an interview with Just the News that Fauci is perpetuating a misinformation campaign in his opposition to the drug. Fauci has been maintaining a studious position that only randomized controlled trials evidence has any value. Well, what about
the
masks? We have none. We have no randomized controlled trials on shutting down businesses.
Oh, that's
or shutting down schools, or shutting down or even banning travel. You don't know, but you made a decision because it was urgent at the time.
Yeah.
Fauci has been maintaining a studious position that only randomized controlled trial evidence has any value, and everything else he called anecdotal. Randomized controlled trials have been referred to as the gold standards of clinical research experiments. Fauci last month lamented the pudicity of such trials regarding COVID-19 cures, but Risch said numerous other types of studies have significant practical value in determining the effective course of treatment. Risch shared a 2017 New England Journal of Medicine article by the former Centers of Disease Control and Prevention Director Tom Frieden, the CDC, one in which the author argued that randomized control trials have substantial limitations and that many other data sources can provide valid evidence for clinical and public health action. Fauci's office did not respond. Risch argued that while HCQ is not a universally effective treatment, it has shown marked and repeated success when used in appropriate cases and at appropriate points of disease progression. The crucial issues are early treatment, high risk, outpatients, plus zinc, azithromycin, doxycycline, hospitalization or mortality outcomes. Dr. Fauci, in citing all of these studies without qualification, smeared all of our points. Risch said opponents of HCQ have been arguing that the drug doesn't work on patients near death in ventilators. Why would you even entertain invoking a study on severely sick patients to bear on the efficacy of outpatients?
So let's make that clear. Actually, what that means is a double-blind study is completely unethical because what it does with people that are dying, what it does is it says half of y'all are going to get a placebo. We know you ain't getting any treatment, and the other half are going to get, and it's all for the sake of research. And if you die, you die.
Yeah. One report out of India earlier this month stated that the drug appeared effective in reducing the virality of the disease, with patients who took longer doses apparently less likely to spread it to close contacts. One scholarly article published in Travel Medicine and Infectious Disease last month detailed experiments by researchers in Marseille, France, who treated over 31 patients with a combination of the two, and that treatment regime was associated with a decreased risk of transfer to ICU or death, a decreased risk of hospitalization, and a shorter duration of viral spreading. The study appeared to use hospitalized patients as trial subjects, but Risch said that the facility functions as both an inpatient ward and day clinic. During the study, HCQ was not legal to prescribe for outpatients, so the hospital admitted patients for the day, did exams, and gave them HCQ prescriptions.
Wow.
Then they went home. Only a small number were actually hospitalized. So in reality, they were outpatients. Researchers in Brazil, meanwhile, said that the patients treated with HCQ and the antibiotic were less likely to be hospitalized, particularly in the early treatment started. And we talked about Vladimir Zelenko, and I have some funny some outtakes from him. Pretty funny. Of the 405 patients treated by Zelenko, 2 died, 6 were hospitalized, and 4 were intubated. In a July 20th academic letter, Risch ultimately cited a total of 12 studies he said showed a positive association with HCQ use and improved mortality outcomes, including one trial in New York City, concluding that HCQ use was associated with decreased in hospital mortality. And so it goes on and on, but Dr. Fauci is actually pushing for remdesivir,
which Trump has already ordered. I think he said in his in something today that we have like 90% of the nation's available doses of that, right? And I'm like, I kind of got really upset when Trump said that, because I'm just like, we have a $10 treatment plus. Go ahead, do remdesivir. That's fine. But if they were to make the HCQ available as a prophylactic, then people could take it. Like, I can guarantee you all of these doctors and Donald Trump are taking it, right? Like, it's okay for them. But anyway, if everybody were to take it and then they actually wouldn't get the disease, and then remdesivir doesn't make their money, Fauci doesn't make money, Bill Gates doesn't make money.
It's all about making money.
Now, wait, let me play Bill Gates.
I'm not done yet.
You're jumping around.
No, I just had you.
Okay. It's all about the money.
All right, so Dr. Simone Gold, she is the dark-haired lady we shared in the videos that we can't share you.
They got taken down.
She said that is the most viral video that ever went viral, she said. And they took everything down, but you can still find pieces of it because people keep putting them up. Even Tucker had her on.
Because you can find them on other places. You can find it uploaded on Bitchute.
Yeah, exactly. Tucker had her on. She's fighting. She's been fired from her. She's an emergency hospital physician, board certified, and she's been fired for speaking out to help people. But
Dr. Simone Gold, emergency medicine specialist. Dr. Gold, let's start with you. You organized this now viral event yesterday. What's your reaction to the anti-hydroxychloroquine censorship by big tech?
You know, we come with a message of hope for the American people. The American people have been told that this is just something they need to have a lot of fear and a lot of panic over, and it's simply not true. There's a cure, there's treatment for early COVID disease, and that's hydroxychloroquine and zinc. It's very straightforward. It's easy. When you look at data from other countries, it's easy. We just don't have that kind of access here. And if anybody has any doubt that this is the answer, all they have to do is notice that YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook deleted all information about this. You know, we did do a press conference, but we also had 6 hours of education from physicians explaining exactly why the drug works and going over all the safety and efficacy. They even took down our website. It's incredible. So, I mean, somebody's really
website.
Would they do the same for remdesivir?
Getting the truth out. But I'm here to tell the American people, hydroxychloroquine and zinc, we're going to get the information back up soon. America's Frontline Doctors.
So they have a new website, America's Frontline Doctors Summit.
Okay, so the fact that they even had to get a new website is absurd. As somebody that owns a website, www.resistancechicks.com, there's no reason whatsoever.
So here we have
they
CBS
should have been able to
News.
switch servers. Are you going to play Tucker's version of her being on there?
I don't know if I have that one up. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube take down, quote, false coronavirus cure videos shared by Trump. That is from CBS News. What is fake about it? I want to know.
Renowned infectious disease specialist Didier Raoult on treating 1,061 COVID-19 patients with hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin in France. Now, the key finding, and what we've been saying about this correct application of the drug, is the following. When prescribed soon enough after the onset of symptoms, it leads to a more favorable outcome of COVID-19. He goes on to write that waiting too long for a double-blind study says it seems immoral to us and in contradiction with the Hippocratic Oath, which states that a doctor must do as much as possible to treat patients according to the available knowledge in the field. Here now is infectious disease expert Dr. Stephen Smith.
So before we are all mandated to wear masks, we must do a double-blind study.
Dr. Smith, do you agree that those treating COVID patients, as you have, I think you're up to 200 plus patients, that you don't have time to wait for the double-blind perfect study here?
No, I mean, if you want to do a double-blind study, then do it in the well patients. You don't do it in the patients that are being admitted to the hospital. Those people are extremely ill. There's already plenty of evidence to prove, establish that treatment of this population.
There are no double-blind studies to show anything treats COVID-19. So you just don't treat them. They just die.
Right.
With this combination regimen designed by Dr. Raoul.
Is that how we treat all cancers? Is that how we treat anything?
Well, it doesn't make sense because let's say it is brand new. Okay, they're saying it's a novel virus. Okay, but we know that it is 70%,
80%,
70 or 80% close to SARS-1. Then what you do is you treat it with the same thing you treat it with that 80% thing, which is this thing.
And colleagues work.
Duh!
It certainly doesn't harm people, and I have data that fit with Dr. Raoul's data. Of course, his are more substantial than ours even. We are up to almost 200 patients, Laura. But the exact same thing. If people are going to go bad, they go bad early. That means that something we're doing is working. And the odds of that not happening, that happening by chance, as we discussed a long time ago, are 10 to the minus 27th or whatever. So we know the combination is changing the course of disease. And we know now the French data are extremely strong. So you can't ethically deny that.
All I can tell you is that there are some pretty evil people out there, and Dr. Fauci is a pretty evil person. He is evil. Evil, 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 because he wants people to die.
So Joanna on Periscope says that there was a long interview with the panel, and it was worth watching, and she learned a lot.
Here's a little clip with Tucker.
That you came on tonight, Doctor.
May I say one thing? There's a lot of people saying some negative things about me. I would ask people please to stop saying negative things about me. I'm a board-certified emergency physician. I take good care of patients. We've hired Lynn Wood to help me in this matter, and I hope that puts to rest anything that people might want to say that's defamatory.
I rarely root for lawyers, but I am in this case. Dr. Gold, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was Tucker's legit real bad. So I had to look up Lynn Wood, who she hired.
Because I forgot too until you said it.
So I didn't know his name. Lynn Wood.
Well, we did. We just forgot.
Is
did you guys see the movie
for Richard Jewell?
We did. I think an exit interview or maybe just an exit review. Having watched it,
so good.
Okay, Lynn Wood is the guy that defended him for defamation.
Yeah.
Now, can I tell the other punchline? No.
No, he is the lawyer for Nick Sandmann?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You just told it!
Ow.
Oh, sorry.
He's Nick Sandmann's
I wanted to tell it. Jeez, I'm like a 5-year-old. He's Nick Sandmann's lawyer. So when she says, I hope that puts to rest anybody else that would try to say anything defamatory against
So what we have here, and this is what I thought that you guys would just get a kick out of because I did last night.
With that.
How was I to know? I thought you might want to go into more detail. I don't know.
No. Can I tell the
Wood
punchline?
Is also he's a man, by the way. If you haven't seen Richard Jewell, I love in his thing. He says hashtag fight back, hashtag where we go one we go all.
He did what?
He's a Q guy.
Oh dear.
And on June 27th, he tweeted out, "Light always overcomes darkness, truth always overcomes lies. But he that doeth truth comes to light, and that his deeds may be made manifest, and that they are wrought of God." Lynn Wood is a fiery Christian who is a patriot, and he and Dr. Simone Gold and Dr. Zelinsky have had an online kind of jokester things going back and forth, which I felt that you would now
remember
really
if you watch Tucker, you will know, and we've actually shared some Dr. Zelinsky. He's the one that actually contacted Trump in the very beginning, saying I'm treating with this HCQ and it's really effective and yada yada yada. He's the Jewish doctor.
Right.
The yarmulke?
He was a yarmulke. He's a Jewish doctor. Okay, so here Dr. Zelinsky tweeted this out yesterday. Attention! HCQ is safe, but causes psychotic breakdowns in patients affected with Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh my gosh.
Workers at toilet paper companies such as the New York Times, Washington Post, China News Network, CNN, shareholders in Gilead, the remdesivir, creatures named Soros and Gates, and a reptile named Fauci, the humanoid mutants named Antiphus. This right here should be framed.
Meaning it's safe for everybody but all those people. If you got TDS.
Because then you're going to get psychotic breakdowns if you do take HCQ.
Mm-hmm. Or if you even hear about it.
This was hilarious. Because then Linwood, the lawyer, tweeted it out and tagged Simone Gold, the doctor, and said, Simone Gold, this would be good for her, good for you to find out, to know. You need to know this. And so they're having some trolling going on. But I will see this. Truth from a courageous professional physician, Dr. Simone Gold. We are being played by the likes of Bill Gates. Dr. Gold and her colleagues have been falsely accused and censored. Why? By whom? Follow the money. Freedom-loving Americans must fight back. And Simone Gold said, we organized a group of practicing physicians, many of whom have personally treated COVID-19 patients. And we spoke directly to the American people about our experience and understanding of the virus and its treatment options. As a result, Facebook removed the live stream of the conference that had 15+ million views. Twitter forced us to delete video testimonials from our physicians. Our web host removed our website and claimed a violation of their terms of service. The media smeared us with lies and falsehoods. Why are social media company employees with no medical degree or clinical experience censoring the perspectives of practicing physicians? Why are journalists claiming HCQ is ineffective when there are numerous studies showcasing its efficacy against COVID? Why are state governors restricting physicians from prescribing an FDA-approved medication for 65 years and empowering pharmacies to overrule your doctor? These actions are unprecedented and have never happened before in medicine. Our video went viral. We are actually, people like us, okay? When they can find us.
You know what's so funny?
And all of our recent viral videos have all been taken down.
Okay, so something showed up.
But we got
commented.
Several hundred subscribers out of it.
It was a comment. Someone,
thank you if you're here, if you found us.
Someone had left a comment on a video that I did. Really, I remember doing it a couple of years ago. I was at a pet visit and we were running late. And I just did it really quick and said, hey, we're going to go live here shortly. Okay? Just real quick video. And I saw it had 619 views for like a 5-minute video. Okay? That's what our videos used to get before censorship. Now, and that's just like an instant video. Like our regular videos, I would log on and our videos had 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 views. Like it seems like every video that we did had at least 3,000 or 4,000 views.
And then if it was an important video,
then it was 20,000.
Yeah.
And I was just used to that. And I guess I took it for granted. You know, I don't really mind our censorship. That's not what I want to say. There are some pros to being censored, and that is the lack of trolls. Okay? But to take it back a second, you know, and remember, they took Stefan Molyneux off of YouTube. They took Del Bigtree off of YouTube yesterday.
Wait, what?
If you can take Del off, you can take anybody off.
Del's gone?
Del is off of YouTube. Okay.
He started the show The Doctors on TV. Oh my gosh. And so, guys, if you're seeing us, praise God that we're even allowed by the powers that be to even get a message out through this. So we're in the middle of a war, but we're winning. And I'm going to tell you why we're winning. Because what this does, it had millions and millions of views before it was censored.
And it made people wait. Now, the censorship itself made people wake up to the truth.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Everybody in the world knows who they are now.
Yeah.
If they hadn't been censored, maybe we half the world.
And it kind of reminds me of our best friend, her coworker, her brother got a test result in the mail saying that he was negative for COVID. But he never took the test.
Right.
Okay? We have heard that on multiple occasions, in our personal lives, not just online, because it's all over online. You kind of wonder, can I believe it? Because I don't really know anybody that's had that happen. But her coworker was like, kind of like waking up, like, I'm not even believing the numbers anymore now that that's happened to my brother.
We apologize. This is Dr. Simone Gold. We apologize for any issues some may have had with donating. Shortly after this tweet was published, PayPal limited our ability to receive donations. She says, we believe the issue is now fixed, so if you would like to support our cause, we would kindly ask you to try again.
You guys, I believe, here's what they don't understand. If they had just let the video be and never gone after these people, it probably would have just had a little blip. Like, blip, and not much effect. The very thing that they wanted to do, which was to take the attention off of this, to not have people watch the video, the complete opposite happened. And it has blown up because everybody knows that when we are told that we can't do something, it's the number one thing that we seek out.
So, the day after the videos went viral, we're from Ohio. Mike DeWine stepped in, but the Ohio Board of Pharmaceutical Board banned the use of this super safe drug.
65 years, FDA approved.
For COVID-19. Well, we had people all over the world. I was going to, the very next day I had people lined up. I was going to make phone calls. I was in the process of finding these numbers to make the phone calls when I see that Mike DeWine says, I agree with the statement from Dr. Stephen Hahn, Commissioner of the U.S. FDA, that a decision about prescribing this HCQ to treat these people should be between the doctor and the patient. I'm therefore asking the Ohio RX Board to halt their new rule prohibiting
choice.
So that's a good first step. But
what happens with my body is between me and my doctor. Where have we heard that line before?
Yeah, the left is all for my body, my choice when they get to kill a baby. But we do know that Governor Mike DeWine, in the beginning, he issued a mask mandate in like April or May, and we went crazy. And he's like, no, I'll make it voluntary. Well, it's
now it's mandatory.
Mandatory. Now I'll tell you something about that mandatory. It was going to be mandatory by county, and each county was going to be labeled levels 1 through 4. And at level 3, you had a mask mandate. Well, our county went into a level 3, so we had a mask mandate. 2 days or a week later, then everybody has a mask mandate, but our county went back to a level 2. So technically, we shouldn't have to wear masks.
But if it's mandated for everyone, then it's mandated for everyone.
Yeah. So now we can move on to what is the New World Order position and where are they going. So play the Bill Gates. This is not a commentary on it. This is his own words. And just listen right here.
I'm trying to open this in another. There we go. Let's see. Screen share. There he is.
You mentioned side effects. The side effects for the Moderna vaccine sound concerning. We looked. After the second dose, at least 80% of participants experienced a systemic side effect, ranging from severe chills to fevers. So, are these vaccines safe?
Well, the FDA, not being pressured, will look hard at that. The FDA is the gold standard of regulators, and their current guidance on this, if they stick with that, is...
Their current guidance is also that this drug is safe. The other one that we were talking about, the FDA, the gold standard, says that it's safe. It's safe for infants. It's safe for nursing moms. It's safe for pregnant moms. It's safe for old people. It's safe for everyone, says the FDA. But it is not safe for COVID patients. So says everyone else.
Is very, very appropriate. And, you know, the side effects were not super severe. That is, it didn't cause permanent health problems for the things there. Moderna did have to go with a fairly high dose. And so, to get the antibodies, some of the other vaccines are able to go with lower doses to get responses that are pretty high, including the J&J and the Pfizer. And so there's a lot of characteristics of these vaccines. It's great that we have multiple of them that are going out there. And yes, I think
you know the data better than I do. But the data showed that everybody with a high dose had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic, where it's just super painful. But yes, we need to make sure there's not severe side effects. The FDA, I think, will do a good job of that, despite the pressure.
How many doses of the vaccine will we need?
Well, none of the vaccines at this point appear like they'll work with a single dose. That was the hope at the very beginning. No. Maybe one of them, particularly in the second generation, won't surprise us. We hope just 2, although in the elderly, sometimes it it
So
takes more.
we're gonna take your grandma,
and so making
and
sure
we're
we
gonna
have
take a
lots of
baseball bat
elderly
to their
people
arm 3
in
times.
the trial will give us that data.
But they'll be better for it at the end.
You've said some more than 7 billion doses. That's what we'll need.
Well, if what you're trying to do is block all the transmission, then
If
you need to
you're
get,
trying.
70,
Look at his
80%
smile.
coverage on a global basis. So that, it's unbelievably big numbers.
And that means unbelievably big numbers for my bank account. Yes.
He's so happy. Yeah.
It's such big numbers.
You're talking about a global vaccination program without a vaccine that hasn't been fully developed yet.
Give me chills.
And a massive scaling up of how to produce one or several vaccines. I mean, it's mind-boggling to think about this effort.
But the private companies have stepped up. The science has been advanced. The U.S. funds biological research more than any other country. We've stepped up to fund these vaccine manufacturers. The plants are being worked out now. In 2021, there's a good chance this can get done. And because, this is about the billions that we need to spend to save trillions and avoid all those.
Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Wait, hang on, because I want to talk a minute about how many people are on this earth, Leah.
I think he meant trillions of dollars, but yeah. The billions to say trillions, but we've already have like a $2 or $3 trillion package.
Okay, I think that was a Freudian slip. Raise your hand if you think that was a Freudian slip on his part to save trillions. Listen here, okay? There's a $10 prophylactic, which means in advance treatment for this specific thing that can help you not to catch it. What is that going to do to the billions that he has spent on this worldwide vaccine that makes him as giddy as the cat that ate the canary when he's talking about...
We had Event 201, which, come on.
When he said, it
Agenda
should be
21.
It should be 2021. Now, everybody else that knows what...
Agenda 21, Event 201,
which
and
is
you're going to have a worldwide vaccine in
it had
2021.
to be Hillary. They needed 4 years to queue this up, and then you're like, you know what? We're throwing a Hail Mary. We're doing it while Trump's president anyway.
Listen,
we're still going for
this
our goal.
is what we're talking about. At the very end, what they didn't expect was to have their hand being shown. You can see some of their cards. You can't see them all, but they keep playing. They keep showing you their hand.
Yep.
And everybody with any sort of sane, even people on the left are like, I'm not comfortable taking a Bill Gates vaccine.
Our friend Kathy on Facebook says, it will take 3 vaccines to kill Grandma. It's just super painful, says our friend Eileen. Kate says, DeWine has the same creepy grin. The cat that ate the canary. It's this power hungry. It's not really just about the money for Gates. It's about the power and the control.
So because Breitbart, thank God, they were the ones who streamed the video. And that's how we found it.
Yeah.
I literally was just scrolling through Twitter and it's like, oh, look at this. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it was going to happen. I just pressed play and I called Michelle up immediately. I was like, you got to hear these doctors.
You know what's so funny?
I was driving. I plugged him into my car and I listened to it through his speakers. I was just like, the floor. I had to get my jaw up off the floor. I was like, what is this? So I was like, Michelle, let's do, or it was Mom. Mom was like, let's do a show. Why don't you do a show? And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do a show. Thousands of people come watch our show. It's crazy. And then bam,
it was going up like by the hundreds. Like every time I checked it, it had like 200 or 300 more views. Here's the deal, guys. That day, Leah just told me about the video. So I go and I create these thumbnails. Okay. I was looking at the video, trying to get a screenshot of something that would showcase the doctors. So I thought, this shot of all these white coats will look really good. Okay. But as I listened to the video and I got to Dr. Stella Emanuel, the doctor that was trained in Nigeria, And I'm listening to her, and I'm like, it has to be her face. Like, I couldn't get a good thumbnail that had her and the rest of them, but I was like, it doesn't matter. It has to be her, because what she is saying there is the most powerful. After our video finished, everyone else was choosing thumbnails of Dr. Stella Immanuel. Now, people have tried to come out later and say, oh, but she, this demon seed, sperm, don't sleep with demonic stuff, like weird witchcrafty stuff. Well, guess what, guys? She's from Africa, where that kind of stuff goes down. You're not from Africa. So if she's saying something crazy about aliens, how come she can talk about aliens and she's cray-cray, but when everybody comes out and says, oh, the government's going to reveal the latest on Area 51 off-world. Oh, but that's real. Like, this is double standard. It's absolutely insane.
So Breitbart News, thank God, streamed the video. They are now unable to post to their 1.4 million followers on Twitter. I need you just a second, just wrap your brain around the fact that all they did was live stream some doctors talking about treating their patients. How is that not okay? In what world, if an abortionist were live streaming how they performed an abortion, no one's going to take that down. It's legal. There's nothing illegal about treating these patients with this medicine.
Right.
It's not harmful. They are saying doctors are treating people. They are also saying that you can get it over the counter around the world.
But you know why they can't let this get out?
Do you know how many people die from drunk driving? But you
really
can live
is
stream
dangerous, though.
Drinking.
It's fatal. HCQ is fatal to the bank accounts of the people who are paying big tech to censor those who are trying to save lives with a $10 drug.
Listen, I don't like to say left and right, really. I don't like to say Republicans and Democrats, really. I actually like ideas, because there are people like Tulsi Gabbard. She's got a good idea.
Love her.
But there are very few people on the left who are saying anything good. And what we're finding is that people on the left are jumping ship right and left, because they're saying, I can't be with the crazies. I can't be with people who are saying that...
If you are not following the Walk Away campaign on Twitter and Facebook, you are missing out.
I can't be with people who say it's okay to riot in the streets and tear down businesses. But
people
it's not
on the left just waking up like,
church.
I'm walking away. I can't.
So Breitbart is still not able to access their Twitter account after their account was locked for posting this video. Twitter is punishing a news organization for live streaming a press conference held by a congressman and licensed medical doctors. These are not even homeopathic people. Okay? Breitbart News lodged an appeal to Twitter on Tuesday afternoon. Nearly 48 hours later, Twitter has yet to actually respond to them. This is an all-out assault, okay? This is interfering in an election, because I'm telling you that this HCQ, if it got into the hands of the everyday person, would eliminate a lot of fear.
Yes.
And people would go about their lives a little bit easier, a little bit more with ease. And it might actually kill off a lot of things. If it, you know what I mean? Just, here's the thing. People in Africa take this all the time. Okay? Just days after the establishment via big tech partners and liberal media propagandists entirely disappeared a viral video of a dozen doctors discussing their real life experience with this coronavirus and getting children back to school. The founder of America's Frontline Doctors, Simone Gold, has been fired. We're here because we feel as though the American people have not heard from all the expertise that's out there, and according to big tech, you are not allowed. She also is the head organizer of an open letter signed by more than 600 doctors calling on President Trump to end the lockdown with exponential health consequences. So you can see their website on Square. The web host took it down. Gold defended her views, which reflected her real-life experience. There are always opposing views in medicine, but that opposition should not be grounds for censorship. Treatment options for COVID-19 should be debated and spoken about among our colleagues in the medical field. They should never, ever, ever be censored or silenced. And now she has lost her job. More worried about here, in all honesty,
is not these people being having their website disappeared. It's having these people be disappeared.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We know about the Clinton body count. Okay, that's not fiction. Who killed? Or excuse me, I guess I should say, did Jeffrey Epstein really kill himself? Okay, we know about they. Do you know how many homeopathic doctors just accidentally die?
Oh, yes.
The percentage there, like, it is bad for your health to be a homeopathic doctor.
So here we have something new. Okay. It's info at americasfrontlinedoctors.com. You can go to America's Frontline Doctors. America's with an S. Frontline Doctors with an S. Summit.com.
You were missing the summit. Now you got it.
And now you can watch all the media and you can watch all of it from
I
their
hope they
website.
got themselves a good web hoster.
Yeah.
I know one personally that would be a good one if they get stuck.
Okay, we're here. This is your commercial break as we move on to other portions of our show.
All right.
Here we have a hero, and not all heroes wear capes. Now, I believe he does swear a few times, so if you have children, explain that heroes sometimes swear.
No, if you have children, take them out of the room. I'm going to give you a second. Pause the show. Press pause. Did you do it?
Okay.
Get your children out the room. All lives matter is what he's saying. Wow.
So, all lives matter, and I dare say you are a hero, sir, and I appreciate your candor.
So Barry, he's not going to give it a rest until I read his comment. And the reason why I don't want to read your comment is because I'm doing my very best, guys, here to not get our channel taken off of places.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, I will say this: my mother is now taking a nightly dose. Nope, let me rephrase that.
No, just drinking some tonic water.
Just drinking some tonic water. Just drinking it because she likes the taste of it, and it tastes really yummy. Okay? And she likes it. And that's what I'm going to say.
I'm
because
drinking tonic water.
Tonic water has some ingredient in it that starts with the Q. And you can do your own research from there. Barry, is that enough? Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Stick with us because we are going to we have some explosive breaking news coming out about Jeffrey Epstein and Maxine.
Ghislaine
Maxwell. But before we get there, I'm going to get to some top headlines here. You guys remember when Twitter was hacked and people were kind of, what was it, the Russians, what was going on? It was a 17-year-old Tampa teen, teenager, among 3 people charged with 30 counts in the recent Twitter hack.
Huh.
So the Department of Justice has also noted that 2 additional individuals were charged, including a 19-year-old from the UK and a 22-year-old from Orlando, Florida. DOJ, 3 charged for alleged roles in Twitter hack. The third is a juvenile. So before the Democrats even had time to blame the Twitter hack on the Russians and meddling in the upcoming election, a 17-year-old from Tampa has stolen their thunder. The teenager, 17-year-old Graham Clark, is being hailed as the mastermind behind the hack that rocked Twitter weeks ago.
Is this his mugshot?
I don't know.
Like, it's
that's
the
got
most, like, demonic, like...
when major
like
celebrity accounts
like
Bill Gates, Barack Obama were hacked and then used Bitcoin, requests for Bitcoin. So unfortunately for the Democrats, Clark doesn't sound Russian. It's not Vladimir Clark. Regardless, Hillsborough State Attorney Andrew Warren filed 30 felony charges against Clark this week for scamming people across America in connection with the hack. Clark is facing 1 count of organized fraud, 17 counts of communications fraud, 1 count of fraudulent use of personal information with over $100,000 or 30 more victims, 10 counts of fraudulent use of personal information, and 1 count of access to a computer or electronic device without authority. And so I just wanted to just drop that news for you so that you could get it off your plate. It wasn't the Russians.
You think our viewers keep those things kind of like on their plate?
Yeah, I do.
I've been thinking about that.
I do.
I'm wondering about that.
I do. I'm always wondering
Whatever
about
happened to the Twitter hack.
So,
was that the Russians?
So I'm going to play for you a couple things. The mask and the social distance thing.
This is hard.
There's a derangement syndrome here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a Florida man has been arrested for enforcing social distancing by firing shots in a hotel lobby. People were too close. So he says, I'll take care of this. And he doesn't shoot anybody, but he fires his gun like 6 times. Crazy. His name is Douglas Marks, 29. And his curious method for reinforcing social distancing. After he spotted people without masks, he allegedly fired 4 warning shots at the Crystal Beach Suites Hotel. And criminal charges contained one interesting element. While Marks did not reportedly aim at anyone, he was still charged with assault. And I would say assault, but here we have a lack of social distancing. He confronted a mother and son duo sitting on a lobby couch and told them, you all aren't social distancing. A mother and a son sitting on a lobby couch. The mother, Veronica Pinea, and her son ignored him. Just ignore him. Just ignore him. He's a crazy man. Marks then allegedly said, let me take care of them. I have 2 people not following directions before firing several shots. So here we do have some mass derangement. Now, I'm going to play for you this. This is a woman, a video of an older woman, and I don't think I played this for you. I just told this to Michelle.
She told me about it. I didn't watch it. I didn't want to watch it. Like, after you said it, like, I literally did not want to watch it.
So we had an older lady, I'm sorry, forgive me, an older lady, who is so panicked about mask wearing. Somebody is whining. Could you just check on the whining?
Yeah, then I'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, who, maybe if Uncle Jack's door could be open, I don't know. Maybe she wants to go sit with him.
No, she wants to come back down.
Oh, that's a sweetie. She can't do down the stairs. She can only do up the stairs. 2 people were eating at a park. Eating at a dog park. And this woman came up and pepper sprayed them.
Because they weren't wearing face masks while they enjoyed a picnic lunch together. The disturbing incident happened Thursday afternoon when Apathy visited Rhodes to footage take mask deployed grounders kept blinded by the pet. A man was dogged by Cork and stopped.
I want the video
for Kelly to receive medical treatment afterwards. Now,
I want the video itself.
You still haven't played it? Maybe you can just tell people about it.
Did you put her with Uncle Jack?
No, I just gave him choose.
I want her to go to jail. Like, she assaulted my husband, and I'm angry about it.
A trip to a dog park in Ocean Beach ended with a hospital visit for one San Diego man after he was pepper sprayed. His wife says they were harassed by a woman for not wearing facial coverings and also eating at a dog park where there's no food policy. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala shows us part of the incident that was caught on camera.
The couple says it was their second time at Dusty Road's dog park in Ocean Beach. They say they had no idea there was a no food policy, and when they sat down and started enjoying their meal, they were quickly approached by a stranger who they say began harassing them.
What are you doing? You cannot be serious. You just maced him?
Witnesses in disbelief watching a man get pepper sprayed by a woman at Dusty Road's dog park in Ocean Beach Thursday.
That is not okay. Not okay.
We've blurred her face because she hasn't been charged with a crime, but police do say they took a misdemeanor battery report.
I want her to go to jail. Like, she assaulted my husband, and I'm angry about it.
Ash O'Brien says she and her husband were at the park with their 3-month-old pup. They sat at a picnic table away from others and began eating their food.
If we knew that there was a no food policy, we wouldn't have brought it into the park.
That's when the woman approached them, reportedly complaining that they weren't wearing face masks and were eating at the dog park.
Automatically started saying stuff about us not wearing a mask when we were social distancing. There was nowhere, there was no one near us. Wherever it's required, we wear it.
After an exchange of words, O'Brien says the woman walked away for a couple of minutes before coming back to the picnic table.
She just came up without saying anything and just stuck the mace can right in front of my face. My husband, being a good guy, walked in front of her and was like, hey, calm down, please don't do this. And then she grabbed him and just started macing him. She used the entire can on him.
The witness who shot the video tells me the woman quickly left the park after the incident, but her license plate number was captured on camera.
We drove to the hospital. He got treated.
The couple filed a police report and want the woman to be held accountable.
Well, yeah.
So there we have it, folks.
Guys, and you know what? I'm going to say this, and you can disagree with me, but I don't even really hold that woman responsible because I don't know that woman from Adam. She may have mental issues. She may be mentally unsound. I hold responsible the mainstream media who has inflicted an insane amount of fear, acting like this is Ebola or something that has like a 25 or 50% death rate, that if you catch it, you just drop dead half the time. Okay? Guys, the death rate on this thing is minuscule,
now,
especially if we have inflated test results.
Let me explain something. We were the first to come to you with this, and we were on the other side. Because what we saw coming out of China and what we saw coming out of Italy, these were numbers. I don't know what was coming out of China for real, but I believed in my gut something happened and something kind of exploded there, like the epicenter. We do know that Wuhanese people were 100 or 200,000 people from Wuhan worked in Italy, and that Italy's hospitals were overrun. But people, let me finish. What we saw over Europe was a deathly spread. Now we do know this later. We're learning things. We here at Resistance Chicks, we don't take dogmatic views on things.
Most things.
We never take a dogmatic view unless it's the Word of God, okay?
That's what I'm talking about, the Word of God.
No, but we're not even dogmatic about stuff besides your salvation. We got to look at all angles, okay? And so when it comes to this, we do know that there are about 8 strains. And what we're seeing is that, thank God, and in the beginning, some people were saying this. Maybe God is saving us. Maybe our prayers are working. Okay,
it loses genetic information every time it gets passed.
There's 8
from
versions
host
of
to
this.
host.
People have different. We're not seeing people with the coughing here. We're seeing people with the breathing problems here.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we're seeing whether it's SARS or it's COVID-19 or it's a COVID-19 through 27 or 19 through 30.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems that it has lost its virility, and people are treating it, and it's things have changed. And in the beginning, nobody was listening, but now things have flipped, and now we need to have people who are on the other side saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa,
whoa!
There's
whoa,
hope.
Whoa!
It's not as bad as it was in Italy. It's not that bad." Okay?
Right.
We thought it was going to be that bad. We prepared for the worst. We got all these ventilators. We don't need them all. Praise God, we don't. And so that's what we're here to tell you, okay? The numbers were going up. Now we know the numbers were, and we can't trust the tests. So there's a lot of things to be able to come out with and show all sides. Go ahead.
That's it.
Sports betting stocks slump as COVID-19 forces another Major League Baseball game into cancellation. So we had a baseball game or two, and now we don't.
You know why we don't? Because Dr. Fauci didn't wear his mask the whole time, and he probably spread COVID to everybody.
Hearing it may be 2 Cardinals players
asymptomatically. As a matter of fact, you can spread COVID if you don't even have it. You don't even have to be asymptomatic. You can just think the word and you're around somebody and you give it to them.
So my question is, these games are all canceled for COVID positive tests, and did they have symptoms? That's what I want to know. Did they actually have symptoms?
You remember when we couldn't trust the numbers coming out of China? You can't trust the numbers coming out of the U.S. in the opposite direction.
All right, so we're saving, I think we're saving kind of towards the end, the Ghislaine Maxwell story. So just hang with us, hang tight. I heard this on Tucker, and then I saw the article on Breitbart of this crazy communist woman that is on Joe Biden's short list for vice president.
So, you know what I got a problem? Not the fact that she's a commie. The fact that her name is Karen, like, you're just disqualified right there.
Oh, here comes a puppy. There's a real possibility this coming week Joe Biden will be selecting the 47th president of the United States, because he's already said that he is not running for president on a second term.
Wait, I'm running for president? I thought I needed a vice president for my Senate seat.
I know. For the woman Joe Biden picks, he has promised to exclude from consideration all men, black, brown, white, or Asian. A woman has a better chance of succeeding to the presidency than any vice presidential nominee in history, other than perhaps Harry Truman. In 1944, the Democratic establishment engineered the dumping of radical Henry Wallace from Roosevelt's ticket. They could see from FDR's physical deterioration that he would not last through the full fourth term. There are other reasons. Oh, I got a puppy behind me. That the woman Biden chooses in August may become our 47th president. If Biden wins, he will be 78 when he takes oath, older than our eldest president, Ronald Reagan, when he left office after 2 terms. Joe Biden would turn 80 before he even reached the midpoint of his first term. Moreover, Biden has suffered a transparent deterioration of his mental capacities that was nowhere near evident when he debated Mitt Romney's running mate Paul Ryan in 2020.
And you know why people don't know about this? And I can interrupt you because you're reading an article and you can find your spot again. I don't know if you guys know this, but back during the Cosby Show's run, Mrs. Cosby, the actor, what's her name? I can't remember. She was pregnant at one point, but they didn't want to write that into the show. And so they would do all sorts of crazy things to hide the fact that she was pregnant in making shots so that she was standing behind a counter. In one episode, for no reason whatsoever, she sat in the living room and held a larger than human life-size teddy bear to cover up her pregnant stomach for like no reason whatsoever. Okay? Just to cover up that she was pregnant. That is what the mainstream media is doing with really hiding Joe Biden's dementia.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Everywhere he goes, he's holding a giant teddy bear, and everybody's just like, Joe Biden just must love teddy bears.
So what are the odds that Biden would serve a full term? 4 years. Of our 45 presidents...
Alicia Rashad, thank you.
Of our 45 presidents, 9 failed to complete the term to which they had been elected. 1 resigned, 4 died in office, and 4 were assassinated. All 9 were succeeded by their vice president. John Tyler became president in 1841 when William Henry Harrison died a month into office with pneumonia, following an inaugural address of nearly 2 hours in the cold without an overcoat. That will teach you, your mother said.
Always wear a coat. Don't go outside without that
Tyler would affect the annexation of the Republic of Texas in his final days in 1845, failed to win his party's nomination to a full term, backed the secession of Virginia in 1861, and ended his days as a member of the Confederate Congress, sitting in Richmond in 1862. Mexican war hero and President Zachary Taylor died in his second year in 1850, to be succeeded by Millard Fillmore, who would go on to become the 1856 nominee of the anti-Catholic, anti-immigrant American Party, known in history as the Know Nothings. Andrew Johnson became president after the assassination of Lincoln at Ford's Theater, a month after Lincoln's second inaugural address. Johnson would be impeached in 1868 by radical Republicans who wanted a more severe reconstruction of a defeated and occupied South. Chester Arthur would be impeached in 1868 by radical Republicans. Who wanted a... Chester Arthur succeeded James Garfield in 1881 after President Garfield suffered a mortal wound from an assassin's bullet.
What was that about, radical Republicans?
Radical Republicans wanted a more severe reconstruction.
Okay.
After Teddy Roosevelt became our youngest president in 1901 when he succeeded the assassination of William McKinley. In our own time, Lyndon Johnson succeeded FDR. We know that.
Hang on. No, he didn't. Lyndon Johnson succeeded JFK. Other acronym. Carry on.
What did I say?
FDR.
I meant JFK.
You were just going acronyms.
I have dyslexia in my head. In addition to Tyler, Fillmore, Andrew Johnson, Arthur, TR, and LBJ, 3 vice presidents succeeded the presidency in the 20th century on the death or departure of the men who selected them. So we have some people who do a little moving and shaking around here. Calvin Coolidge on the death of Warren Harding in 1923, Harry Truman on the death of FDR in April 45, and Gerald Ford on the resignation of Richard Nixon. Thus, of our 4 dozen vice presidents, all of whom have been white men, 9 have risen to the nation's highest office to fill out a term of the president who selected them. Yet, with the pandemic crisis, the economic crisis, and the radical crisis gripping the nation, what are the unique conditions Biden has set down for the person who would put a heartbeat away? He would put a heartbeat away from the presidency. Biden began his selection process by eliminating discriminating against whole categories of people. First of all, no white men need apply.
No, it's so funny. It's like, listen.
No, don't apply.
I don't want any white men. I don't want any men because I am one. And
is one.
And I like the females.
Second, no man of any race, color, or creed will be considered. Gender rules them out, though every vice president for 230 years has been a man.
What I find about this is hilarious because our dad's company, it was my grandpa's company, they used to always hire the pretty females for the secretary, like always, right? It was like a company policy. You wouldn't get a job there unless you were drop dead gorgeous, okay? So this kind of feels misogynistic
but
to me.
No. What do you think?
I'm just saying, I mean, as far as, listen, we're only going to pick a female, right? Like, I only pick the females.
I don't know. But
so this lady is Karen Bass.
One of the chicks. Karen Bass. Long march from communist fringe to Biden's VP short list. The Democrats' presumptive nominee, Joe Biden, will make his running mate as early as next week. Will name his running mate as early as next week. We'll see. With Congressional Black Caucus Chair Karen Bass, a Democrat from California, reportedly on the top. The California Democrat has emerged as a favorite pick for a former Senator Chris Dodd, who serves on Biden's Vice Presidential Search Committee. According to a source who spoke with Politico, Dodge has urged Biden to choose Bass because she's loyal, and that's what Biden really wants. On the surface, Bass's background as a former medical professional and South LA community organizer made her an attractive candidate. Her resume bears the hallmarks of a rising political star, starting with her first foray into elected office 16 years ago when she won a seat in the California State Assembly and later became the first black woman in the country to serve as Speaker of the state legislature when she assumed the speakership in 2008. Prior to this, Bass worked as a physician assistant and a left-wing community activist who founded a non-profit in the 90s called the Community Coalition. She made headlines in 1992 after the LA riots, for her fight to prevent liquor stores from being rebuilt in the neighborhoods destroyed by the uprising. In 2010, Bass won her U.S. House seat, where her voting record has been typical of a progressive member of the Democrat Party, increasingly embracing socialism. However, if we take a little deep dive, if we get our scuba gear and we go searching for what does she really think about things, you're going to find red with a hammer and a sickle. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so she's a hardcore communist. Like here's the core, and it's really hard. The VP vetting process brought renewed scrutiny to comments Bass made about Cuba's communist dictator Fidel Castro. In a statement following Castro's death, she referred to him as Commandant in Jefe, describing his death as a great loss. Jefe? Commandant in Jefe? Is that how it is? Jefe? Jefe?
Did you not take any Spanish?
I took 2 years of it.
And you can't pronounce Jefe?
Oh, you're right. There's no J. There's no J. It's an H.
Carry on. We're going to pretend that didn't happen, Nancy.
I know how to say one. One. It has a J. It's not John. It's one. Okay, and described his death as a great loss to the people of Cuba. The horrific commandant in Jefe, otherwise known in American as Jeff. I am speaking English.
No,
I speak American.
No.
Jefe. Which translates to Commander-in-Chief. Jefe. Was criticized by Democrats for being excessively differential.
This is why you can't watch any other show but this show, because you ain't never know what you're gonna get.
In an interview with MSNBC on Sunday, Bass attempted to walk back her use of the term. I have talked to my colleagues in the House about that, and it's certainly something that I would not say again, because I want to be elected. I know what to say now. I learned. Jefe. And I have always supported the Cuban people and the relationship that Barack Obama and Biden had within their administration in terms of opening up relations. When the interviewer asked her how she would characterize the Castro regime and its legacy, she says, I think the Castro regime and its legacy is very troubling. However, a moment later, she appeared to dismiss the significance of Castro's crimes by saying, but you know what? I mean, we could talk all evening. I could tell you about a number of regimes that I think are very troubling for a variety of ways. Bass's walk back has not quieted questions about her electability in the battleground state of Florida, with its large population of Cuban Americans whose families fled Castro's murderous regime, Biden would not get Florida with her on the ticket. But these comments are merely a tip of the iceberg. Ready? Growing up with red diaper babies.
What?
Bass discussed her earliest political influences growing up on the west side of LA and attending Alexander Hamilton High School in 2008. Interview with progressive authors Darnell Hunt and Anna Christina Ramon for their book, Black LA, American Dreams and Radical Realities.
Racial.
Thank you. Racial realities. Quick dyslexia there. Many of Karen Bass's early influences, as she notes, were among the city's most prominent white and Jewish leftists. Bass told them, if the white left played a huge role for me, in Hamilton High School, for example, a lot of Jewish parents were activists, and some of them were in the Communist Party.
It says the white left, not if. It wasn't a question.
Sorry. The white left played a huge role in growing up. A lot of them were communists. She says, so I grew up with a lot of red diaper babies. And there were some African American parents who were also in the Communist Party. There were teachers who were in the Communist Party. So white radicals were very influential. And at the same time, you have the Black Panthers and the whole black movement. Red diaper babies is a slang term used to describe children of members of the Communist Party USA during the Cold War. And this 2008 interview would not be the first or last time Bass talked about her communist influences. On January 30th, 2017, Bass took to the floor of the U.S. House to eulogize her friend and mentor, O'Neill Cannon, who was a leading member of the Communist Party in the USA. Can we just be done here? Okay. We got to say the no to the communist go.
So I want to give my punchline of my opinion on this right now at this moment. Here is what I believe is happening should Biden choose her. Should Biden actually choose Karen Bass? I think it has nothing to do with Biden. Should they tell Biden to choose her? It will be because, you know how when you are losing the football game and...
A Hail Mary.
Well, it's not just a Hail Mary, though. Like, they recognize that in order to implement their Agenda 21 plans and everything that they they got to skip ahead. They have to have a communist. And so they are literally going to go, if they do this, they're like, listen, we just got to go all in. We have to go with this woman. We'll do whatever we have to do. Election fraud. We're going to get the mail-in voting in. We're going to pull it. But we have to have a commie in the front door on Inauguration Day.
We do, exactly, if it's going to happen. So she, O'Neill Cannon, who she loved, was a leading member of the Communist Party in the USA. In its obituary for Cannon, the communist website, The People's World, noted his work as a Communist Party USA's education director in the Southern California district and as a member of the party's Southern California and National Central Committees. These are not accidental and incidental connections. Okay, David Horowitz told the Breitbart News. Horowitz, a red diaper baby and self-described former radical, was the intellectual founder of the New Left movement in the 60s and co-editor of the leading radical magazine. Horowitz said Bass's praise of communists does not happen by accident and was not a default position for idealistic leftists of Bass's generation. There was a new left movement which distanced itself from the Communist Party. We despise the communists. You could be a radical and you didn't have to be connected to the Communist Party. She's obviously deeply into it. Those connections run especially deep when it comes to Bass's involvement with the Venturmos Brigade. So this is a communist front group. Over the years, the VB, the venture, how do you say that?
Venceremos. That's how I'd say it.
Starting from the time she was 19 years old in 1973, she would make 8 trips to Cuba. 8 trips to Cuba as a brigadista in the 1970s. Articles about her work with the VB Brigade made it sound like the Cuban equivalent of the Habitat for Humanity or any other praiseworthy volunteer organization providing humanitarian assistance in poor countries. In fact, this brigade, hey buddy, was a Cuban Communist front group founded in 1969 by Fidel Castro himself. That's why he is her commander-in-chief. You cannot be president of the United States with allegiance to another country, to another ideology.
Commandant en jefe.
To the Constitution.
Melody on YouTube wants to know when did it become okay for a communist to serve in any government capacity?
She's in our U.S. House right now.
But she's not a member of the Communist Party.
Go
I don't think you can be a member of the Communist Party and hold office. But you just have to be a member of another party. But inside, in your heart, you can't.
So she's part of this underground Fidel Castro group. Horowitz and his fellow Ramparts editor Peter Collier explained the origins of this brigade in their book Destructive Generation. In 1969, a group of radicals, including the SDS leader Bernardine Dorn and Castro apologist Saul Landau, traveled to Cuba to meet with the Vietnamese and launched the
Venceremos Brigade.
The ostensible reason for this effort was to provide help for the Cuban sugar harvest. The real reason was to meet Cuban and Vietnamese officials in Havana to map out strategies for war in America, the other war, which would ultimately defeat the United States in a way that battlefield situation in Vietnam never could. The public rationale for this Venceremos Brigade was to organize 6-week work trips for American volunteers to assist Cubans in harvesting Castro's sugarcane crop. The first thing Castro did when he came to power was ruin Cuba's economy. The biggest propaganda was that the imperialists had made Cuba a one-crop country, which was sugarcane. And under Castro, the production of sugarcane went down dramatically, and so they called on American volunteers to help them harvest. In a 400-page FBI report in 1976, based on information obtained from former Cuban intelligence officers, explained that this Venceremos Brigade was used as a recruitment tool to co-opt American radicals as assist for the communist regime by fostering revolutionary fervor. What's he got? You got some? No. Including guerrilla training, okay? And so she would be, and I'm going to stop there. You can probably read the rest of it. You can read the rest of it on Breitbart here. She would be, this Karen Bass would be the face for this Antifa movement, this communist movement. They're the ground, and she would be the head. And they will fail, but they need to be exposed.
So I want to tell you something. Honestly, as you were reading all of that, I truly believe that Donald Trump is going to be elected president. But
to face the fact that we don't have like a normal, just leftist, regular person like Gavin Newsom or Chris Cuomo, or just somebody like, just some Democrat that people don't like.
Right.
But instead, like, legit communists.
Right. Well, but I want to bring some peace here to you guys. And I may continue to say this leading up to November. I have so much peace this year about, it's not a Donald Trump movement. The movement of God and righteousness and morality and the changing, like turning, Leah prays this all the time, turn it right side up and upside down. Like, the world has been upside down for a long time. It needs a complete flip, and we need to be turned right side up. We're in the middle of that flip, and it can't be stopped. It literally cannot be stopped. So regardless of who gets elected president in November, I didn't have this peace in 2016. Mm-hmm. If Hillary was elected, I would have been in depression for a really long time. Not because Donald Trump wasn't elected, but because she was. Okay? Now, we've never been put all your eggs in a basket and Trump supporters like that. It's just, that's the movement, and I feel it. I feel the movement of right and righteousness and God so strongly. So I want you guys, no matter what, no matter who gets elected, even if it were by fraud to be Joe Biden and one of these people.
So here, she's a little face right here in this photo here from 2015. The official Cuban Communist Party newspaper took a picture of a U.S. contingent of politicians, including Bass, meeting with Cuba's communist dictator Raul Castro while he was in New York City for the United Nations General Assembly. The caption on a photo showing Bass and other Democrat lawmakers posing with Castro describes them as a bipartisan group of American lawmakers who have maintained favorable positions regarding a change toward the American policy towards. You've got the clandestine Maoists and the Black Panthers, and she's just all up in this stuff. And it's I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's crazy.
I think it would be hilarious. You know what I'm really saddened by? I don't think that the Democrats are going to. We're watching puppies here. I don't think they're going to let Biden debate Trump. Like, if I had to put my money on something, if I was a betting woman and somebody had a pool, I would literally put $500 down saying Joe Biden will not debate Trump. It's just, they will move heaven and earth. They will claim COVID. It's never going to happen. Now, if Trump were to debate this woman or any of the VPs, it would be epic. Trump debating Biden, if it actually did happen, I'd lose my $500. Well, I'm not betting anyone, but I would if someone would take me up on that. I'm just saying, debating a communist would be incredible.
Right. I got a few more stories to go before we got to sign off.
Did you see she just did that to me?
Well, I was just looking at time.
I think it a lot when you're doing it, but I never actually visualize it out loud.
I was looking at how many stories I still
I don't even do it below the thing, like, so nobody can see. I'm going to start doing that. If you guys see me look like this, it's because I'm telling Leah to wrap it up.
Commercial break. Donald Trump's approval rating is up at 50%. 50%. President Trump's approval rating is back at 50%. Maybe he can change his name to 50%. The daily presidential tracking poll
it's my future.
For Friday has him at 50%. Of likely American voters approve of President Trump's job performance, while 48% disapprove. The last time he had this was in February. I think they didn't.
So he's back to where he was pre-COVID. No, essentially.
Yeah. Over here, Donald Trump says, China must be very happy the Democrats using coronavirus to screw up election. President Donald Trump said, why do we have a crying baby upstairs? Said Friday that China was likely delighted Democrats were trying to implement mail-in voting in 2020 election, which he said would lead to a catastrophic result. They're using the China virus. China must be very happy about it because they hit us with a virus, and now they screw up an election like you will never see. The president spoke to reporters at the White House after hosting leaders of the National Association of Police Organizations on Friday to discuss law enforcement. Trump previewed a disruptive election day on November 3rd, noting that it would take several days or even weeks to count all the ballots. It's going to be a very, very sad day for this country. The president said that he supported Americans voting absentee, but that the electoral system was not prepared for universal mail-in voting. Universal mail-in votes are a disaster. He recalled that voters voted in elections in World War II and World War I and should be able to vote during the coronavirus. Trump boasted that he was confident with his chances at winning re-election. The only way that Democrats can win is if they cheat. And we all know that, and we have to keep saying it over and over and over again. So, let's see here. I wanted to go to... Donald Trump has a lot of support with police, and he met with the National Association of Police Organizations, and I'm going to kind of skip that one. This is kind of a funny one. Michelle's missing on the funny one. CNN doesn't name women, only individuals with cervixes in cancer screening story. Now, I read this and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Individuals with a cervix are now recommended to start cervical cancer screening at 25 and continue through 65, which HPV testing every 5 years as the preferred method of testing, according to new guidelines. The words women, woman, female, and females are not used once throughout the entire article. CNN's use of sex-neutral language appears to align with the Trans Journalists Association guidelines, which advise journalists to avoid equating gender and anatomy in your coverage. Instead, journalists use sex-neutral terms in the name of inclusivity, using phrases such as people with ovaries, people with prostates, people who can get pregnant. This is particularly prevalent when writing about men's health and women's health. Consider whether that framing is trans-inclusive. When you write the word women, are you including trans women? Does it apply to non-binary people and trans men? Most reporting about health according to gender overlooks trans people. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think it's backwards and not educational and not scientific. And just downright un-American, un-planet Earthian. Can we say that? As a planet Earthian, as a humanoid, I do not want to be labeled by my body parts. I feel like that is actually gross and despicable. I think that's even. I think it's worse. I think it's worse. Way. Remember we talked about the front hole, rear hole. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to go there. We're done. Blah. That's what I have to say about that. Blah. Bill Barr was brought before Congress for two reasons. One, because the Democrats wanted to grill him on Roger Stone and the like. And the Republicans wanted to talk about the riots and what the DOJ is doing about the riots. Well, I have a little supercut here for you that I did not do, so I do not take credit. But in listening to this, the Democrats weren't there to ask Bill Barr any questions. They were there to lecture Bill Barr. And so, the term, reclaiming my time, was used over and over ad nauseum.
It wasn't reclaiming my time. In April, times is when does something actually become good?
Reclaiming my time. This is not a trick question.
In this country.
I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. General.
Without any remedy at all.
I'm reclaiming my time. Let me share with you. You gotta let me in.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time, sir. Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time without political bias.
He said he
and in
found
April,
evidence.
reclaiming my time, Mr. Attorney. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time, Mr. Barr.
In substances.
Attorney General, reclaiming my time. There are rules by which we operate here. I would ask you to respect them.
But the 64 Act did not extend to...
Reclaiming my time, sir. In both documents...
Mr. Attorney General, reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
I think that's what it's...
Okay, reclaiming my time. And again, I'm happy...
Shame on you, Mr. Barr. Can I just say, shame on you. Can I just... My time is expired.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
I wasn't reclaiming my time. In April...
Reclaiming my time. But at the end, towards the end, Bill Barr had had enough. He wanted a break. He hadn't had his lunch. And so he asks for a break. And Nadler denies the request.
Mr. Chairman, could we take a 5-minute break?
Dean is recognized.
Could we take a 5-minute break, Mr. Chairman?
No.
That's a common courtesy,
Dean is
Chairman, of every witness.
I waited an hour for you this morning. I haven't had lunch. I'd like to take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Attorney General, we are almost finished. We're going to be finished in a few minutes. Otherwise, we can certainly take a break. But
you're real clap.
Okay. After this, if you still want, we'll have a break.
No, he wants a break now. And you just mentioned rudeness. I think we're seeing it on display. Let's let the Attorney General have a break.
Committee will stand in recess now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It was a mess. It was a crazy mess. But, and I won't play this whole clip, Jim Jordan was there to ask Bill Barr about Antifa. And Nadler, this week, and I don't have the clip, Jerry Nadler described Antifa as a myth. And Jim Jordan said, does this look like a myth?
I want to thank you for defending law enforcement, for pointing out what a crazy idea this defund the police policy, whatever you want to call it is, and standing up for the rule of law. And frankly, we have a video we want to show that gets right to this point. Can we play that video, please?
You can't see anything because his glasses are fogged up because of the mask.
Cleared how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protesters.
Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protesters. On behalf of myself, my children, and the family of David Dorn, we'd like to thank friends, neighbors, co-workers, and the community for showing all the love and support we've suffered through the tragic loss of my husband, my beloved husband, David Dorn. We'd also like to thank St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department for their hard work and perseverance through this investigation, as well as the Circuit Attorney's Office. He dedicated his life to the city of St. Louis, retiring at the rank of captain after 38 years of distinguishable service. Then as a chief of Little Acre for almost 6 years. During those years, he's touched so many lives as a friend, mentor, co-worker, and guardian. His life was senselessly taken from me, from us, by an opportunist who had no regards for human life or the law. This didn't have to happen, but it must have been God's plan for David. We need to come together as a community and do better. We need to teach our young people that life is very precious. We as a family are going to be taking some time to focus our attention on healing, which is very important as we move forward. We would like David's legacy to be remembered as a loving husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, friend, colleague, and most importantly, a child of God. I'm going to thank you all for coming, and God bless you all.
That's the problem! Oh, shit!
I'm going to skip ahead here.
Well, I hope that Mr. Jordan will never complain about the length of my opening statement. Without objection, I'm going to insert the committee's audio-visual policy into the record of this hearing, and note that the minority did not give the committee the 48-hour notice required by that policy. Without objection, all other opening statements will be...
He did not want to see all of that. Peaceful protest, peaceful protest.
They...
Peaceful protest.
Here's what's unfortunate. The mainstream media isn't showing any of that.
I know.
No one knows that that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're watching Resistance Chicks or some other channel like us, or maybe Fox News.
Yeah.
You don't know that that is happening in our country right now unless you live there.
I know. It's true. We covered it ad nauseum, but I wanted you to see that that was at the bar hearing, and good. Jerry Nadler's reaction to it was epic and priceless, and I love that.
Wow, that's really terrible that that's going on in our country.
He didn't care about people at all.
You didn't give us our 48-hour notice.
Remember, the world went crazy because a couple of, cowboys took over a little preserve that nobody was on.
Nadler would be the person defending the, child rapist murderer who didn't get their Miranda rights read.
Yeah. Yeah. So, speaking of that, child rapist murderer, the judging in this case, in Ghislaine Maxwell's case, has unsealed court records. And you need to know the highlights. Okay. Dozens of exhibits related to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were unsealed yesterday evening. This is breaking news. Providing insight into the allegations against the financier and his purported madam, who is really sick and disgusting. And when you think that, we all kind of thought that she was the lady to go get these girls. She was a pedophile lesbian swinger who did things to these girls and did orgies with them. Like, she is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay? Like I told Michelle on the phone, I was like, you're not going to tell me these people don't drink baby blood, because this is insane stuff. Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz, several other people are named. The documents related to a 2015 civil defamation suit against Maxwell by Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre, who were ordered to be released on July 23rd by U.S. District Court Judge Loretta Preska, who also included flight logs from Epstein's private jets, as well as police reports from multiple locations where Epstein maintained residences. Among the findings here, Bill Clinton was allegedly on Pedo Island with 2 young girls. Witness interview. Here's a witness interview. When you ask him, why is Bill Clinton here? Where was here? On the island. When you were present with Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton on the island, who else was there? Ghislaine, Emmy, and there were 2 young girls that I could identify. I never really knew them well anyways. It was just 2 girls from New York. And we were all staying at Jeffrey's house on the island, including Bill Clinton. That's correct. He had about 4 or 5 different villas on the island, separate from the main house, and we all stayed in the villas. Were there sexual orgies on regular occurrence on the island at Jeffrey's house? Yes. 6 references to Bill Clinton in Virginia Roberts' chat with her lawyers on April 7, 2011. Asked about Epstein boasting Bill Clinton owes me favors, Giuffre said, "Yes, I do. It was a laugh, though. He would laugh it off. I didn't know if he was serious or if it was just a joke." That should read, "I didn't know if he was serious, period. It was just a joke, period." Okay. That changes the whole thing, just so we're trying to be fair and balanced here. Well, I think he did. That's a direct quote, right? I never knew. I didn't know if he was serious. But you can't insert what she said. Just read it. Later in the interview, he told me a long time ago that everyone owes him favors. They are all in each other's pocket. When you ask him, why is Bill Clinton here? Where was here? We talk about that on the island. And then Tracy Beans brings out a bunch of. She's looking through them. Everybody's looking through them to see what might be there. Somebody's gonna have to make those bigger for me. I can't see them. Sorry, Tracy. So Virginia Giuffre asked Comey's FBI for evidence in their possession, which was ignored. This is big. The FBI was in contact with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's minor victim back in 2014. They did nothing. The production includes plaintiff's communications with FBI agent Jason Richards in 2014 and suggests that plaintiff was in regular communication with him at various times, particularly in mid-2014. Despite this, few pieces of correspondence with Agent Richards have been produced. Plaintiff also produced an email to Christina Pryor of the FBI, but not a response to that email. Heartbreaking. The minor victim was asking the FBI for evidence. Photos and videos. Where can you get my name on the flight logs? I need evidence to prosecute her civil case. She says, Virginia Giuffre to the FBI, to Christina, the FBI agent, "I was wondering if you remember me from Sydney Consulate. I am a victim in the investigation from the Jeffrey Epstein case and was wondering if you could tell me if I would be able to get a hold of any of the pictures and or videos the FBI might have confiscated from any of Epstein's residences. Also, can I ask if you might have any of the flight logs that include my name on them to be sent to me as well? It's all for evidential purposes and to prove many of things to help my case." She never got a response. Remember that famous Prince Andrew photo with Ghislaine Maxwell and the victim? The FBI had their own copy for years. Even before the victim's 2011 interview, the FBI knew. They always knew. They always knew. I'm just asking you if there's a document of that has the list of names on it, not in front of me. Where is the original of the photograph that has been widely circulated in the press of you with Prince Andrew? I probably still have it. It's not in my possession. I'm not saying I have photographic memory, but if I look at the back of the photo and remember what it says, I believe it was March 2001. Did the photograph ever leave your possession for a while? I gave it to the FBI. Okay, and when did you give it back? When they took copies of it. When was that? 2011. When they came to interview you? Yes. So from 2011 until you left Colorado, it was in your personal possession. Yes. So the FBI had copies of this picture They knew she was a teenager. They knew she was with Prince Andrew. They had this picture, and they did nothing. The DOJ let free Epstein's co-conspirators in the Florida case, including Maxwell and Sarah Kellen. Here, the victim describes the abuse on the flights. And I'm not going to go into it, but she describes that there was contact with these other women, which to me, it's mind-boggling. I can't really understand it. I don't want to read it about it. I feel like there are different levels of abuse, and there's different levels of there's like the axe murderer, and then there's a guy who shoots you with a gun, and then there's a guy that like takes pleasure in like ripping your fingernails out.
Oh, come on.
So like what I'm saying is like there's different levels, okay? And like to see these women procuring these young girls, taking them to Jeffrey, offering to Jeffrey because so that Jeffrey can pay them and keep their lifestyle going, and then so that they can abuse the girls.
Right.
There's some monstrous twistedness and she's not. It's just weird. It's just beyond weird. Put it into context. The FBI DOJ in 2008 knew about Epstein. Maine Justice DC DOJ was helping run the Epstein case and even delayed the grand juries. Okay, I think that was one I didn't want to do. I wanted to do this one. In 2008, emails between Marie Villafana, Robert Sr., Jeff Sloman, all these people, about continued delay in presenting case to grand jury due to failure to receive decision from D.C., status of grand jury presentation and ongoing investigation, staffing of case for purposes of trial, and meeting for the prepared grand jury presentation. These are people running front for the big names that would be in it, right? At the time Epstein signed his plea deal, the FBI and DOJ knew that they had not interviewed all of his victims. What kind of info do you have to hand over to get away with one of the most horrendous crimes a human being can commit in the span of 3 decades? The answer is most likely none, since Epstein was working with the feds. Epstein had also provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution because Epstein provided some sort of information to the FBI. Maxwell was in communication with Epstein. She says she was in 2015. She said she hadn't spoken to him in 10 years, but there was an email from January 2015 where they're discussing, I think, how to evade questioning. Alan Dershowitz is mentioned several times and has gone to great lengths to defend himself. I think he's guilty as sin. This document appears to have been released publicly tonight in unredacted form. Alan Dershowitz says that he wants all the videos out there, and you'll find there's not a video of me. You'll find. I hope Epstein made videos. There have been suggested that Epstein made secret videos and all the men who had sex in the houses and planes. I hope he did, and they're all revealed because it would prove that I'm not in one of them. Of course, you're his lawyer. He probably said, okay, you be my lawyer, I'll destroy yours, right? Maxwell directed the minor to sleep with the MIT scientist Marvin Minsky at Epstein's complex in the Virgin Islands. That's what she alleges there. And then Bill Richardson, Bill Richardson is who he should be asking if these redactions are an error. And so there's a bunch of redactions here. But let's see. Correct. What's your testimony? That's my testimony. Ghislaine Maxwell told you to give a massage to blankety blank. And it says, when Ghislaine Maxwell used the words, go give a massage to Bill Richardson. Where were you? And so Bill Richardson's on there. And other speculative mentions redacted Prince Andrew, Jean-Luc Brunel. I'm not exactly sure who that is. Virginia Guffrey used to be known in court.
Is it Jeffrey?
Virginia Guffrey.
It's Guffrey?
It is Guffrey.
Okay, that's weird.
Used to be known in court documents as Jane Doe 3. The same person, the same doc shows similar allegations she made against Prince Andrew and Jean-Luc Brunel. She says, perhaps even more important to her role in Epstein's sexual abuse ring, Maxwell had direct connections to other powerful individuals with whom she would connect Epstein. For instance, one such powerful individual Epstein forced Jane Doe 3 to have relations with was a member of the British royal family, Prince Andrew. Jane Doe 3 was forced to have relations with the prince while she was a minor. Jane Doe 3 also said she was forced to be with him, and then there were numerous other underage girls. So that you kind of get the picture there, and you guys can more welcome to go through them yourself. Very interesting. Donald Trump was also a good friend of Jeffrey's. He didn't partake in sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. He'd have a laugh and tell Jeffrey, "You've got the life." Obama. This is from Jack Posobiec. Obama administration did nothing on Epstein for 8 years despite evidence. Bush administration cut a sweetheart deal with Epstein. Clinton administration has intimate ties with Epstein. Also, remember, Michelle Obama says Harvey Weinstein is a wonderful human being and a good friend and just a powerhouse, and everybody's smiling. So you have to wonder, these people that live and work and move in these same circles, what is going on here? Really, what is going on here? I don't know if there's any more information in this. The big thing here that nobody's talking about is that she identifies Bill Clinton on the island with 2 young girls. Why is that not the main story everywhere? Okay, Bill Clinton has come out and said that he denies ever going to the island. Of course,
he's on the flight logs,
isn't he? I'm sure he is. Yeah, he's on the flight logs. Yeah,
so he can't deny going to the island,
right? So here's a picture of Bill Clinton posing with Epstein's pimp and a sex slave, a little young girl. That was from January of this year. Alan Dershowitz said that he went to the island, but with his wife. So,
well, yeah, and Hillary Clinton went too. Probably all drinking baby's blood.
We have Jeffrey Epstein's ex-housekeeper on Facebook shows photos of her with Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton. So, all right. Well, more will come out, but I think that what this case is it's horrendous in its own right. That somebody did all this and was able to do this, but it's
even more horrendous that they covered it up and that they killed the man.
You go to the top.
There's no.
And you got Obama like, no, we don't want to. We don't want to deal with that.
Eat that paper towel. Thank you.
You've got George Bush's administration letting him go. When you watch some of the conspiracy shows and they make these connections and the sex trafficking rings, right? Mm-hmm. And people think that there's crazy conspiracies. But some conspiracy theories are actually true.
Hence our tagline.
And 2020 is going to go down in history as the year of the unmasking.
Yep.
We're forced to wear masks. This is a spiritual kind of thing. My mom would always say, when it's on the outside, it's no longer on the inside. So why they're forcing us to wear masks on the face? Know this. That the devil and the sex trafficking and, I don't know, there's probably going to be baby blood somewhere. Well, you got communist baby diapers, red diapers, right? The communists are coming out. It's got to puke. It's got to come to the surface because you had your homeschool curriculum in high school, and it was so funny because it seemed hyperbolic because it was like in your history book, it was a Christian book, it was like all the commies, and I remember you coming out saying it's all the darn commies. Remember?
Yeah.
And we kind of felt like that was a little hyperbolic, you know.
Literally, what I took this. If you're considering homeschooling your children this year,
Mm-hmm.
you've never done it before, you can go to Christian Liberty Academy satellite schools. That's the curriculum I use. Now, if you want your child to be raised right, what I walked away with of my own volition, because I homeschooled myself,
you were red-pilled in a lot of things,
was literally buy gold, and it's all the dirty commies.
Yeah.
I was saying that like incessantly going around the house. Buy gold, it's all the dirty commies. That's what my private school education taught me.
Think about what's going on in the public schools. So you got schooled. Now we know in our own education that was the right education to give a child.
Yes.
Okay.
Buy gold.
You were years.
Man, if we had money to actually buy gold back then, we'd be rolling in it.
I know. It would be crazy. It would be insane. Like, literally insane. Because it's probably like 200 or 300 at that time.
What it was.
It had to be. I remember, or off the top of my head, I know it was like 287.
Right.
Okay? In 1998 or something like that. 99, 2000. Dude, that 300 is 1800, 1900, almost 2000 this year. Anyways, let's not think about it, but you can. Go buy some gold if you have some spare cash. Get them out of your IRAs. I'm going to finish with that, actually. The dollar's just not going down. It's going to crash. As gold was closing in on its all-time record price last week, Peter Schiff appeared on Clayman Countdown and warned about the looming dollar crisis. Clayman set up the interview by pointing out that Peter predicted this big move up in gold months ago and asked, what's your new prediction? He said, it's not really a prediction. It's just perhaps more timely. The dollar is not just going down. It was going to crash. Priced in real money, gold and silver, the Dow is actually down. And what gold is telling you and silver is that the dollar is losing value. It's losing purchasing power. The dollar has been drifting lower against other fiat currencies over the past few weeks. But I think the dollar is going to keep drifting down until it collapses. And this is going to usher in a real economic crisis in America, unlike something we have never seen. Because it's going to force the Fed to choose between saving the dollar and dumping all the bonds it has been buying, letting interest rates rise sharply, forcing the U.S. government to slash spending right now and abandon all these stimulus plans, or just let inflation ravage the entire economy, wipe out a generation of Americans. Get out of dollars. Number one, own gold and silver. The gold and silver mining stocks are killing it, but they're just getting started. I mean, these stocks, they're going to go up $10, $20. I don't believe in owning the stocks in gold and silver because they're just mining rights. The tangible stuff.
Yeah, and the ratio is like 100,000 to 1. I don't know what it is.
Forget about the payroll tax. The real tax is going to clobber every American is inflation, because that's how the government is now funding its spending, is through inflation. And inflation is a tax on anybody who owns U.S. dollars. So I'm just throwing it out there for you guys.
So today, spot on gold is
1981.
It is literally less than $20 away from breaking
2000.
out. And when it hits that 2000 ceiling, like Lynette Zhang says, it is going to slingshot up. Now, like she also says, it's going to go up and down and up and down.
What about silver?
But it's going to be going up.
At
Silver
24.
is at $24.42. That's crazy. That is crazy. Just right at the beginning of the pandemic, it dropped down to $15 and we bought some. And now it's at $24.42. So here's the deal, guys.
So wait, what you're saying is that if you had your dollars in just dollar, they're going down.
They are.
But your dollar in silver is going up. And this is what we were trying to tell people.
Right.
Or gold.
Well, there is one way to look at it. Here's the deal. These are already suppressed and undervalued prices, okay, to start with. And so every time Leah closes this out, I got to fix the coloring here. So gold should be valued at like $11,000 right now due to inflation, okay? And so it's going to have to reach that before you can say, oh, I'm gaining. The gold isn't actually going to gain value. Silver isn't going to gain value. It's just going to reach its rightful value.
Gold should go to 11. You mean 11? Not 1,100.
11,000. Did I say 1,100?
No, I thought 1,100.
Okay, so what's happening as you're viewing the prices go up and the prices of silver and gold normalize to their actual value, you are starting to see the true value of the dollar being exposed. Okay, it all has to do with what Lynette refers to as purchasing power. What will your dollars buy you right now? Because of inflation, we say, oh, we've had all this inflation, a dollar can't buy you now what it could buy you 20 years ago. Well, while that's true, it buys you a whole heck of a lot more than it should because of inflation, okay? Because of the amount of water they have poured in the lemonade, they have put an artificial flavoring in there to tell you it tastes like lemonade when actually it's just water. There are no real lemons. There's no real sugar in this lemonade, all right? So once the artificial flavoring is taken out, you will realize it's just been water this whole time. And so while our purchasing value and purchasing ability is going to decrease, it's actually going to be a leveling out and normalizing of what's been happening for the past 100 years.
If I loved you and I do love you and I do care about you, I would let you know ahead of time. I'm not going to keep something a secret. I don't like predictions, but forecasts, by seeing weather patterns, you are able to say whether a hurricane is likely to hit land at a 2 or a 3 or 4. These are not predictions. These are not pie in the sky prophecies.
They're models.
They are models. They are forecasting models, and it could come out like this. It could hit the Gulf Coast. It could hit North Carolina.
Speaking of which, there is a hurricane we could be talking about.
But the collapse of the American dollar is going to hit somewhere, sometime, and the damage that it does is up to you and I, and how we are able to react, and how we're able to make and view the world and do things with our own 2 hands. And getting back to, Mom has a lot of blogs that she's been doing lately that have the power of God on them. So go listen to my mom's videos. She's
got something premiering tonight at 9:45.
So that may be set 4. So it's not even so much, don't take this the wrong way, what she's saying. It's how she's saying it. She, as a mom, cares about you and cares about people, and God is showing her, not showing her things that you and I couldn't know ourselves. Just what God is doing. And you have it, you have 2 eyes and you have 2 ears and you can see what's happening. We went to Russia, where a 5,000 rubles was $1. But that was because of the ruble collapsed. Okay? Now it's been reset. I don't know what it is now. Okay? But our dollar is set to collapse. It's just set to collapse. Okay? It just will collapse. And when that does, you want to be in a good position. And so, if you don't have any savings, put your savings in gold and silver in heaven. The Bible says, come and buy of me milk and food and everything without money, without price. But if you do have, you'll be able to help those people who don't.
If you have paper dollars.
If you have savings in an IRA, in a 401k, or in stocks.
Or 401k.
Whatever it is. I am just kindly letting you know, I'm just letting you know, they are going to suffer. And if you have gold and silver, you will not suffer. You will not. That is literally guaranteed. If you want a guarantee for wealth preservation, it is gold and silver. As Mom says, she always says, a silver dime should buy you 3 sacks of flour. When money resets, those values actually come back down again. That's the whole point of a money reset, right? And the stuff that it buys at $11,000 an ounce is the same that it should buy,
but it won't be.
But it
will be up there. It will be. Here's the deal. I can't, especially at the end of the show, go into it ad nauseum, and I'm not going to do a whole nother separate channel to give it to you, because there's already somebody out there doing it. Her name is Lynette Zhang at ITM Trading. For anybody, I'm seeing in Periscope some people having issues with gold. There's all these things wrong with it. Okay, you're just wrong. Okay? It's expensive time to buy. Well, actually, it depends on how you view it. Okay? It's expensive compared to yesterday. It's dirt cheap compared to tomorrow. Okay? Because it's like, gold right now is like 90% off. 80 or 90% off. Clearance. Okay? So what you're haggling over is whether you pay 80 or 90% off, or 75% off, or 65% off, or 55% off, because that's what's going to keep happening as we move forward. Okay? I feel very confident that Lynette's prediction that gold will reach $2,500 before the end of the year, it's not going back down. It may do this a little bit, may have some bubbles, but it's going up, and it's not going to go down. All right? $6 trillion in debt on top of what we already owe.
Watch what the world governments are doing. They're buying gold.
All the central banks are buying gold. Every government is buying gold. They all know what we've been saying for 20 years and what you don't know.
Knock on my door when we have told you, and you have savings.
Right.
Well, you didn't tell me. Well, guess what? Listen, you don't want to believe me? You don't have to believe me.
Right.
You don't. I'm not going to make you do it. I'm offering you this information as a gift because I care. But I do not want to force you to do something. You have to do something led by your God and your own 2 ears and own 2 eyes.
I'm telling you to do your own research. Don't talk to me. Go listen to at least 2 or 3 videos from Lynette Zhang at ITM Trading on YouTube. And then form your own opinion.
Yeah.
All right? So we're going to sign off here. Patriot Gallery cannot resist the conversation of gold and silver. I hear her coming down because she might have something to add. Yep. On the conversation of gold and silver, which is her favorite topic of all time. More than Jesus.
Maybe just this time. Because hopefully you'll be done when it's all reset and you can stop talking about gold and silver.
Well, I don't want to tell people the wrong Periscope. We just tell them we're Christians and we want to do the right thing.
I'll tell you, you're
and
wrong.
we want to be honest people. Honest people use gold and silver for 6,000 years.
Right.
Dishonest people don't use it. So it's whether you want to be a crook, criminal, or not. I mean, if you could just sit in your basement, print off, dollar bills, which is what they're doing. It's called counterfeiting.
Or be part of the cabal that uses it and perpetuates it.
It's counterfeiting, and you are an accomplice with counterfeiters.
Right.
Around the world. That's why America is wealthy, because we're counterfeiters.
Right.
We're counterfeiters.
Okay.
And we make everybody
imagine
be part of our
that all
it's
these
just the right thing to do.
Imagine all these fake 20s were being passed around, and you knew in your hand was a fake $20 bill, and you continued to use it anyway because, well, that's what everybody else is using, and I don't want to make a switch because this was kind of free money, and that's exactly what's happening. They're all counterfeit. They're all fake, and everyone, all of us, including us, are participating in this money laundering scheme.
Not your fault.
$20
I'm trying to get you
a gold piece.
I'm trying to get you to recognize, to get out of the system because your labor.
You have to first recognize
the system.
The system. You can't just ignore it. You can't say it doesn't
system,
exist, and you can't say it's not wrong.
You get out of the system up here. It's very hard. The system is what it is.
You're literally a slave to the system.
But guess what, guys? The system's going to crash.
Exactly.
You can't make it crash.
But I would like to also exemplify. It's like a number line.
Hey, baby.
Michelle had a good thing
baby,
that
baby.
when you have fiat, you're losing, and when you have silver, you're gaining. But you think of a number line, you all had to take algebra or pre-algebra. When you use fiat, you are on the negative side. So let's say Trump is a billionaire. Well, imagine the number line going with a negative billion. That's what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those with less fiat are wealthier than billionaires.
Meaning those that have, because it becomes a debt, essentially.
They're all debt notes. They
are all notes of debt, yes.
So more you have, the more you are in debt.
Right.
And you didn't really pay for it, honestly.
Right. So someone says, how am I going to spend a gold bar? Well, that question, and God love you, just proves ignorance. And that's all that it is. You don't want to believe what is going to happen. And so you can't even imagine or see what is going to happen when the economic reset takes place. Okay? Because when the economic reset takes place, you'll be able to spend anything because the dollar bill will be worthless. I will be able to spend this speaker. This becomes currency. Okay? I could spend this cell phone. It becomes currency because the dollar has no value, and what are you going to do? And those that have gold and silver are going to be the ones that people actually want to trade
with. But guess what? What happens with the gold bar? And listen, I'm not a lottery person. I'm not predicting anything. You get really, really wealthy. Rich. And you buy the big stuff with the gold bar, honey. You buy the shopping center. You buy the land. Okay? You buy the big stuff with the gold bar. Do you understand?
Lynette's plan is, she talks about buying city blocks when this happens because then you've got an income producing asset there.
But I like to help people in their minds. Like, if you read your Constitution in Article 1, Section 10, says only gold and silver can be used.
Yeah.
So if you love your country, if you're a patriot,
it's patriotic.
then you want to uphold the Constitution and you want to use gold and silver coins. From the beginning to 1970, we had silver dollars,
we had silver dimes. We had silver dimes. We had gold
it's
coins.
Natural
it's
to have
natural.
Silver and gold.
It's
unnatural, and you've been conned.
Now
you got to face the fact that you have been conned.
The question has arisen here, and it's back quite a ways about confiscation.
About right
okay, governments can confiscate gold and silver. Well, yes, there is always that threat, but that's why Lynette advocates for putting your investment into gold and silver coins, okay,
which have
intrinsic value.
No, not just intrinsic value, like antiquity value, a collector value.
Collector value. They
back when they had this happen before, they couldn't collect the coins that had a collector value. Okay, something beyond
equal value.
Right. So
see, the whole thing was to con people out of their gold in 1933. So it wasn't that long.
They
ago.
took your gold and gave you back $32, and
they gave you back 20. And after they gave you 20. They raised it to 32 because
that's what it was. They gave you 20, and after they raised it to 32.
It was total ripoff.
You got conned.
American people. It was a con. But we
listen,
decide we're stand up to these cons.
Every negative talking point that I'm seeing in the chat here is everything that you would have heard from the crooks that are buying the gold and don't want you to. It's that simple. It's that simple. Get your head out of the sand. Listen to Lynette Zhang, and I'm not saying she's the be-all and end-all, but she's the most easy to comprehend.
Also, I'm doing a show after this for you guys.
But it's premiering.
No, it's not premiering. I got to do it out loud.
Oh, at 9:45.
I haven't. That was yesterday. I didn't want it 9:45 yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But well, part of it is the crypto is made by AIs or blockchain, and you talk about the life. Life comes from God, and when you're on a computer, it is dead. And so when you have blockchain, anything on there will be dead.
Yeah.
And that's why it is called a crypt, because you will have nothing but death.
Right.
And so you really don't want a crypto, because it is death. It is what it is. It's death.
Right.
The computer and the blockchain is death.
Listen, guys, we have done a lot of segments on this. We don't have time to go into all the segments. Counter currency caper.
The counterfeit currency caper is the best video we have ever done on Resistance Chicks. It doesn't have enough views.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's a little
comedy.
skit.
It's
You'll
a
love
little
it.
skit to try to explain to people that
we need to do more of those. They just take a lot of time to come together.
1913.
It's this or stand-up comedy.
1913. Bankers, cabal, Reed, Creature from Jekyll Isle. They get together. They want to be wealthy. They want to be rich. They know Congress is going to go and regulate the banks. So they say, well, we're going to get our guys into regulating the banks. Okay? They literally create a counterfeit printing press with the Federal Reserve in 1913. Up until then, the dollar did not inflate for 200 years in America.
Except for at the Civil War, there was a blip.
A little tiny blips and back down.
Sue wants to know, what is the YouTube channel for the lady who tells about gold? ITM Trading. Just put it in the search bar. It will come up. Go to the videos and you can watch. Lynette is absolutely amazing. We've actually had her on our show. So you can also go to our video search bar and just insert ITM Trading or Lynette, Lynette, Zhang, Z-A-N-G, and her video
Reserve
will come
currency
up.
Dollar collapse. Buy gold and continue to buy, says big Wall Street investor.
So there you go. All right, we're going to sign off. Yes, Boss Taurus, that is the skit where PG's arm makes a cameo appearance.
She has a crash planning with homes and mortgages, gold to reset in 6 months. So, all right.
Remember, guys.
Just before the crash, 2 patterns to look for.
Well, we're in it right now. We're literally in the economic reset right now.
Well, that was a year ago.
I know.
I didn't see that was from a year ago.
Well, that's why I say, so you can go, you can't really see it right here because this is whatever, but when you go to their page, there's the home page, slide over to videos, and you'll see the latest videos in order, okay? So, we're going to sign off. We love you guys. God loves you.
C-Spot run.
Yeah. We will be back here on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news.
Yeah.
I always love that show. It's a real treat to go across the pond and cover that news.
Hi, puppy.
We have a P.O. Box.
Hi,
we haven't checked it in a really long time. 107 Milford, Ohio 45150. If you send us your letters, we will read them on air.
You can send stuff in the air. We're not afraid of the Rona.
Oh, yeah.
You can send stuff in the mail, I mean. We're not afraid of the Rona, but
that's not send stuff. Send your letters. We will open them. We're not afraid
what
of
I mean is
what's
for
coming.
a while there, we were like, send something in the mail,
yeah.
but that, whatever. You can send your letters. It's fine.
Okay.
We love you. God loves you, and God bless.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys again on Sunday. Be here or don't.
Be square.
Be square. Bye, guys.
Let's go.